Hey guys, welcome back to Technically Baking. Today we're making Paul Hollywood's Crusty Cob Loaf from the Great British Bake Off Technical Challenge on Series 1, Episode 3. All around the UK you'll often hear a bread roll called a cob. Locals claim it's the original word to describe a roll. A cob loaf is what the British call a round loaf of bread. It is the bread you usually see as bread bowls used with dips or soups. To start out, put 500 grams of flour into a large mixing bowl and add 40 grams of softened butter. Add 12 grams
or
of
2
yeast
sachets
to
of
one side of your
fast-active
bowl
dry
and
yeast
10
to
grams of
one side of your bowl.
salt to the other side. If the salt and yeast comes in direct contact, the salt's going to take the yeast out. Use a spoon to combine all the ingredients. Add about 150 milliliters of lukewarm water and move the mixture around some. Add the remaining 150 milliliters of water a small amount at a time until the flour is picked up from the sides of the bowl. You want a dough that is soft and well combined, but not soggy or sticky. Add more water if needed. Now we're going to continue mixing until a well combined and rough dough is formed. Use the dough to clean the sides of the bowl. To keep the texture of the dough consistent, we will be using oil to grease our clean work surface instead of flour. Dump out your dough with plenty of workspace. Fold the far edge of your dough into the middle and then turn the dough by a quarter turn and repeat. Do this several times until the dough is very lightly coated in olive oil. Now we will knead our dough for 4 to 5 minutes until the dough is stretchy and smooth. Push the dough out in one direction with the heel of your hand, then fold it back in on itself. Turn the dough a quarter turn and repeat. If it does get too sticky, you can add a little flour to your hands. If we work quickly, the mixture shouldn't stick. Return your dough to your mixing bowl that has been cleaned and oiled. Cover with lightly oiled plastic wrap or a damp tea towel. Set aside to proof for around an hour. Now proofing time will vary if your room is warmer or colder. During this time, the yeast will do its job and the dough will double in size. While waiting, line a sheet pan with parchment paper and set it aside. Once your dough has doubled in size, you can begin to shape it. It should be shiny and bouncy. Lightly flour your work surface and knock your dough back. To do this, we are going to use our hand to roll the dough up and then turn by a quarter and roll it up again. We are repeating this several times. Now let's use our hands to gently smooth and turn it into a round loaf. Place onto your parchment lined baking sheet. Cover with lightly oiled cling wrap or a damp tea towel. Again, set aside to proof for around an hour or until it's doubled in size again. The proving time will be the same as your first proof. While waiting for our second proof to finish, get your oven preheating to 425 degrees and put an old empty roasting pan in the bottom of it. Once your loaf has risen again, sprinkle some flour on top and rub it in. Use a large sharp knife to make shallow cuts about 1 centimeter deep across the top to create a diamond pattern. Put your floured and cut loaf in the middle of your oven. Don't close the door yet. Remember the roasting pan we put in the bottom? Pour cold water into it just before you close the door. Why do we do this? This creates steam which helps the loaf develop a crisp, shiny crust. I don't know about you, but I love a good crust on my bread. Now set a timer for 25 minutes and then check your bread. To check, take it out of the oven and tap it gently underneath. It should sound hollow. The loaf is cooked when it is risen and golden. Allow your bread to cool completely or eat after a few minutes. I will be enjoying mine with a big pot of homemade chicken and wild rice soup. Thank you for joining me. Please remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video and would like to see more. You can also follow me on Twitter, Reddit, and Facebook. They are linked in the channel's About tab.